So now today the topic is conditionals. So earlier when we were working with our code, right? So there were certain positions where we were not able to place certain kind of sections, which is called as if, else, and if, elif, and else. So these are keywords, by the way. Okay, they have a certain meaning when we use them in Python. So you can imagine a scenario. Okay, imagine you are driving and you approach an intersection. Okay, you are driving in a car and you approach an intersection. Now what will happen? So at the intersection you have something like a green light, yellow light, or red light. So if the light is green, what you will do, you will drive forward. So you have this in mind, right? You are instructing your mind, if I see the light as green, I will move forward. Else else if the light is yellow, what you have in mind is you have to be prepared to stop. Either you have to prepare to stop or you have to prepare to run. Okay, anything can happen. And else, if it is not green, it is not yellow, it's red. Else, if it's red, you have to stop completely. Okay, you have to follow the rules. So in the similar fashion, we can instruct Python also. Okay, so in case we want to do an if the light is green, we want to move forward. So for if, there are certain rules. Whenever we write an if block, right? Let me go through directly here. Whenever we write an if block, right? This if line, the rule says you have to put at least one line after the if statement. If I do not put this and I'm only putting this, it's not a valid thing to do. Okay, let me try to run this. See, it says incomplete input. Okay, so you have to put at least one line. So when we do some kind of a practice, right, or do a test kind of a scenario, so what we do is there is something called as a pass, PASS. So what this pass will do is, right, earlier I was getting an error, right? Although this pass means you execute this line and then skip, you do nothing. Okay, let's see if the pass works here. So you see pass works. So this we use whenever we are doing some kind of a testing. Let's say there are number of if conditions and I want to test only a particular condition, then I can use this pass. But this pass also is following our first rule. If in case I'm using an if as a keyword with Python, a next line is needed after the if as a keyword. So here I have used if as a keyword, right? So a next line statement is needed. Either it could be a pass in case of a test scenario, but in general, you will have a print kind of a print statement. There could be another if condition within this, but there has to be at least one statement. Otherwise, we are not following the particular syntax of Python. Okay. So what Python says is you use if, you put your condition, and then you put at least one line at the end of if statement. So what if syntax says? If syntax says you take a variable or anything, you put your condition here. So whatever condition is here is from the operator. It's telling if age is greater than equal to 28. Okay, so here I have taken variable age as 30. Here what I'm putting a condition, I'm putting a condition and I'm giving it to Python. Hey Python, if age is greater than equal to 28, then what you have to do? Then you have to print you are allowed to vote in the election. Okay, generally it's like 18. So if the age is 18, you are allowed to vote in election. Okay, let me run this. So what it says, because my age is greater than 18, I am allowed to vote in the election. So let's say if my age is, let's say 15, what will happen? Nothing will happen because age is not greater than 18, right? So what will happen when the Python will evaluate this line, right? It will say it's a false line. Okay, this condition is false. My age is not greater than 15 because, or greater than 18, because the given age is 15. So then what it will do, it will not execute this line. It will exit out. How will it exit out? It will come here in this line. So what is there in this line? There is nothing. So it will do nothing. It validated this line and it find out it's a false statement. So it didn't execute it the next line and it came out to this line, and this line has nothing. Okay. In case my age is 18 or greater than 18, then in that case, this statement becomes true. If this statement is true, it will execute the immediate line after it. Okay, so this is how if syntaxing or if block works in Python, and this is typically true for every language in Python, by the way, or every other language. So it's a common syntax which we use. There could be some few things here and there. Okay, but it's, and remember we have to use a colon here. Okay, this colon will tell us this line. I mean, before this line there is a condition, and this is a kind of an ending. Okay, when you put in colon here, right, you are ending this if statement. So we have to do this. Okay, so this is the first example, and then Oh, this is, I'm just typing age is equal to greater than 18. So this is not, maybe we can delete this. It's not required. Okay, yeah. In this case, so now earlier what was happening is, so let's say my age was 15, right? When my age was 15, it was not executing anything, right? Because it was coming to this line, and this line has nothing to do. There was not, no statement in order to Python to execute. So it treated this if as a false statement, and then it came out, exited, the code exited. Now what will happen is my age is 16. Okay, let's say my age is 16. If my age is, so what this condition is telling, if my age is greater than equal to 18, I'm eligible for voting. But else, if this condition is not true, then it will move to the if-else block. Earlier, I was not having any kind of an else block, so there was nothing, but Python has to exit if the condition was false. But here, in case the condition is false, I will I will come out of this particular this block, because this block is, it will be treated as a false statement because this condition is not true, and this else will execute. What it is telling, if this particular line is false, execute this particular block. Okay. So what this particular block is telling, you are a minor and means you are not eligible for voting. So let's try to execute this. The way you have mentioned if, right? If and then condition and then at the end colon. In else section, we are not mentioning any condition, but we have to end it with a colon. And when you are using if block, you have to mention a next line after the if statement. For else also it's true. When you're mentioning else, you have to mention one line after the else block. Okay. So let me execute this. Now see, you are minor. So this statement became false. As soon as this statement became false, right? We were at this line, and what this line says, if above line is false, execute this line, you are a minor. If it would have been 18, right? We would have never reached to else block. So what will happen is, if this condition is true, okay, execute this line and come out of the code. Okay, because this statement is true, right? So we are done with our work, then come out of line. If this statement is false, only then else block will execute. Okay. Okay, let's see another example which has if also within it. Okay, so earlier the first example illustrated how we can use if, then this example is illustrating if with an else block, and this example is illustrating if, elif, and else. Okay, so let's say my age is 17. If my age is less than 13, okay, less than 13, I'm a child, you are a child, this will print. If this statement is true, this printf will work. If this statement is true, if age is less than 18, this statement will work. Okay, and if the above statements are not true or the conditions are not met, then this statement will execute. Okay, so now when the age is 17, what all statements are becoming true? This statement and this statement. Let me try to execute this. So see what it's telling. Yeah, okay, sorry. So it's 17, so it's greater than 13. So this statement became false. Okay, but this statement became true. So if this statement becomes true, then come out of the code, just print this and come out of the code. Now let me take an example. If my age is 10, is this statement true? Right? My age is less than 13, right? Is this statement true? My age is less than 18 also, right? So now let's see what happens. You are a child. First block executed, and then I immediately came out. Okay. So how this works is, if my first condition is true, I will come out of the block. If this condition is true, execute this condition, come out of the block. If both conditions are false, execute the else part and come out of the block. So you can take different examples, and then based on that, you can see the output. So let me make both if and elif as a false. So if my age is 20, this statement will become false because my age is greater than 13. This statement will also become false because my age is greater than 18. And now see what will happen. You are an adult. So only this part gets executed. Okay. In case, let me take another example. In case, instead of elif, if I would have used, let me comment this out. Okay. Let me do like this. What you have to do is, let's say I would have made the code like this. I'm not using elif. I have commented this, so Python will ignore this. If my code was in this style, if statement, the next line, then again if statement, the next line, and then this else block, and I would have taken my age as 10. Okay, then you see what will happen. Is this statement is true? Yes. Is this statement is true? Yes. You are a child and you are a teenager. You see, if I'm not using elif, this statement is also getting executed because this statement is also true, right? So that's why I have to use elif. If I use elif, then you see, if I use elif with same value, I only get one output. Why I only get one output? Because this how the Python will treat this. If this condition is true, come out of the block. But if I use if here, it will not come out of the block. If it will test for this condition and then again for another if condition, it is testing. Okay. So that's why I have kept elif. So now all will work in conjunction. Okay. Uh, I hope, you are able to understand this. If any issues, you can raise it. Okay, all good. Okay, let's move towards next example. Now this is nested conditional statement. So you can place one or more if, elif or else statement inside another if, inside another else or else statement to perform certain operations. Okay. So when you put and another if or elif statement under the first statement, then it is called as a nested conditional statement. So what is the example of nested conditional statement? This thing. Okay. Here, this is my first line, and then immediately I have to put a printf or an line, right? That is what if rule says. Then again, I have put another line. So this is also an if condition, and what I have done is I have put another line under this if condition. Remember, guys, see, if you put an if condition directly under if, right, it has a different meaning. If you put a nested if means you are putting a gap, you are taking a gap here. Okay. So see, if you put like this, right, this has a different meaning, and if you put a tab over here, this has a different meaning. What this meaning is, this is if this condition is true, evaluate this condition. Okay. But in the previous example, let me comment this and uncomment this. In this, what is this? If this statement is true, irrespective of this statement, please evaluate this statement. This statement will also be evaluated. This statement will also be evaluated. Okay. This statement does not depend on this statement. Okay. In the above, because it is not nested. It's not part of this particular if. Okay. If I have to make this particular condition dependent on above condition, I have to make it nested. How will I make it nested? I have to put a tab here. So now this condition, this particular if condition is dependent on above condition. Okay.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed our session at LWP Labs. For more videos like this, you can subscribe to our channel and contact the number for live classes. The future is now with AI.